his arm in right field when we think about Dwight Evans?
Well, I think a while to get going offensively. The first 6 to 7 years of his career, he was really trying to find himself. He was the man of 1,000 different stances, and finally Walt Riniak got to him and really has simplified things for him, and it really clicked. And he was way out in front with OBP and OPS. Led the league in OPS a couple of times, and I think 370 or something OBP for his career. He would have been a very popular player in the modern era right now.
Patrick, we take a look at his numbers compared to what guys did in the 90s and in the last decade, and we know now those numbers were inflated, and we know why. Jim Rice kind of became a beneficiary of looking back at those numbers fresh. You think Dwight Evans deserves that? Do people need to look at his numbers stacked up against guys in that era?
Yes, and to your point, that's exactly the reason why I put this case together. I'd always felt that if Jim Rice was elected to the Hall of Fame, that you could make a case for Dwight Evans. And so I tried to make that case.
You look at the career numbers there, more than 1,400 runs scored. Were there any numbers that surprised you as you started to dig in and started to look at this research?
Well, from 72 to 91, which is when Dwight's career took place, he finished first in times on base and was second only to Reggie Jackson in the American League in home runs. And as I said before, he led the American League in home runs during the decade of the 80s. Those are the things that kind of stood out to me, offensively speaking. Right. Then you put the defense in.
And you put the defense in, and we all know what he could do. You stack him up against some right-handed Hall of Famers. You look at Jimmy Fox, and Al Kaline, Harmon Killebrew. No denying the numbers hold their own.
Yeah, and I think this is some of the things that some of the voters, and I was one of them for a long time. I didn't vote for Dwight for a while, but I finally voted for him. That the offense really got lost. And I think Patrick has really brought that offensive aspect of it out with this booklet. And I think as he approaches the Veterans Committee, they're going to have to take a long, hard look at this guy and realize that the other thing that helps him is that he was a clean player, the non-steroid use, which also helped Jim Rice in the end.
No question about that. What's the reaction been? You've put this together. Dick Bresciani over at the Red Sox has worked with you a little bit. Have you gotten some reaction to these numbers?
Yeah, so the Red Sox have been very supportive, gratefully, and it's kind of taken on a life of its own. It's been a work in progress since 2009. Like I said, when Jim Rice got in, that's when I originally started. My wife challenged me and said, if you feel that strongly about it, then do the research. And the more I dug, the more I was convinced that he belonged in the Hall of Fame.
Have you heard from Dewey at all? Have you gotten reaction from the player?
So he's been supportive in the sense where he's said, tactfully, I appreciate that you feel as strongly as you do, but I won't speak on behalf of myself as regarding the Hall of Fame, which I respect.
Yeah, which Jim Rice, for 15 years, never stumped for it. And at the end, it may have helped him. I think a lot of people in that last year said, you know what, the guy could be out there calling for it. He never did. Dewey's taking the same road.
Yeah, Jim used to irritate me because he wouldn't talk about it. And then he finally got in and he talked, he couldn't stop talking. So,
now he's irritating us in the studio, trying to get the games go quicker. Patrick, great work. It's a terrific research that you've done here. Good luck with it here, trying to get Dewey in.
Thank you very much for having me on.
All right, Patrick Languzzi with us here, trying to get Dwight Evans into the Hall of Fame, and the numbers trying to back him up.